If you're thinking about moving to Oviedo, Florida, one of the first questions that you probably have is, what does it actually cost to live here? And I'm not just talking about home prices. I am talking about housing, insurance, property taxes, groceries, utilities, commuting, childcare, and all the little things that people never think about before relocating. My name is Christine McKinley, and I've been a realtor in Oviedo for about 10 years. I work with a lot of buyers that relocate from out of state. So in this video, I'm gonna break down the real cost of living in Oviedo in 2026, including some insider things that locals know that you probably wouldn't think about. First of all, Oviedo is considered a moderately expensive suburb compared to the rest of Central Florida, but it's still much more affordable than many major metros. The overall cost of living here is about 5 to 7% higher than the national average, mostly driven by housing prices, but there are a couple of big financial advantages to living in Florida. Number one, Florida has no state income tax, and I'm sure so many of you are so excited to hear that. That means if you're relocating from places like New York, New Jersey, California, Illinois, you could be saving thousands of dollars per year in taxes. And number two, property taxes here are actually lower than the national average, which we'll talk about in a minute. Let's start with the biggest expense, which is housing. Right now in 2026, the average home value in Oviedo is right around $500,000 to $525,000. The median sale price tends to fall somewhere between $440,000 to $485,000, depending on the neighborhood. But the range is pretty wide. Here's roughly what you can expect if you're purchasing in Oviedo. Starter townhomes are usually around the low 300s, maybe like 330 to the low 400s, like $420,000. Typically, a 3 to 4 bedroom family home runs around $450,000 to start, and it can go up to over $1 million. Large homes in communities like Live Oak Reserve, The Sanctuary, or Ellingsworth, those can easily run over $700,000, and those go up over $1 million, also kind of easily. Now, here's something important for buyers relocating here to know. The reason Oviedo homes hold their value so well is because of a few major drivers. Number one is just Seminole County schools. If you're even looking in Oviedo, you know that our schools are the best of the best. Number two, proximity to UCF, and number three, limited land for new development. That combination keeps demand extremely strong. And I would say that the school zones are the main thing that keep demand really strong out of those three. And honestly, in the past 10 years, I've personally watched Oviedo go from a quiet, kind of sleepy suburb to one of the most in-demand places to live in all of Central Florida. Now, let's talk about if you're not ready to buy and you are just renting. The average rent today in Oviedo is roughly $2,100,000 to, did I say $100,000? The average rent today in Oviedo is roughly $2,100 to $2,400, depending on what type of property that you're looking at. Apartments are typically, for a one bedroom, around $1,700 per month. A two bedroom starts at about $1,900 per month, and a 3-bedroom apartment will run you $2,200 or more per month. Townhomes, though, they'll start a little bit higher. You are going to run about $2,300 per month, but they can go up to about $3,000 per month for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath townhome. One thing that really drives rental demand is here in UCF, which is just a few minutes away from Oviedo, and it has about 70,000 students attending UCF. So the demand for rentals and housing is very, very high. And UCF just increased its dorm rates, so that is going to increase the amount of students who are looking for rentals that are outside of UCF. And that is why many investors like buying rental property here. Another question buyers from out of state always ask me is, what are the property taxes? So Seminole County actually has relatively low property taxes, especially when you compare it to Orange County. The effective property tax rate is around 0.88% to 0.91% of the home's value. So for example, if you bought a $500,000 home, your property taxes would probably be $4,000 to $4,500 per year. And if this is your primary residence, you can do this really, really cool thing that I didn't even know that that other states didn't have, but you can apply for Florida's homestead exemption, which can reduce your taxable value by $50,000. There's a lot of other reasons to do the homestead tax exemption that I won't get into right now because this is a video on cost, but if you're curious about that, you can reach out to me and we can review that together. This is another big reason why a lot of retirees and relocators choose Florida. Now let's get on to something that surprises a lot of buyers moving here, homeowners insurance. So I think that Florida right now has a pretty bad rep for homeowners insurance. Florida insurance costs have gone up significantly over the past few years. In Oviedo, most homeowners insurance policies for a typical single family home will run you somewhere between $2,000 to $4,500 per year. This is a big range because it just depends on so many things. It depends on the roof age, hurricane protection, square footage, construction type, and it also deals with your personal credit score and your history with home insurance. So that's why I kind of have to give a big range with that. But the good news is that Oviedo is inland, so insurance does tend to be a little bit cheaper than if you were on the coast. And that's a big advantage compared to places like Miami or Tampa or just the beaches. Next up is utilities. Because Florida is so hot so much of the year, I would say the air conditioning is probably the biggest factor. The average electric bill for a home in Central Florida runs about $200 per month, depending on the size and the house and the age of the AC unit, of course. So a typical monthly utility breakdown will be, electric, probably $180 to $250 just to be safe, water and sewer between $60 and $120 to be safe. Internet, probably $70 to $100 depending on the plan that you have. And then of course your cell phone, which isn't really a housing expense, but your cell phone plans run around $150 to $200 depending on the family plans. So homeowners here spend roughly $400 per month on utilities and up. Now let's talk about groceries and just everyday living. I would say that groceries are slightly above the national average. So maybe for like a family of 4, you can expect to spend somewhere around $800 to $1,200 per month on groceries, depending of course on your lifestyle. I know that Oviedo just has a brand new Sprouts, which I think is probably more expensive than Whole Foods, so which is gonna be more expensive than Publix. So we have a brand new Publix and a newer Sprouts. So between the two, we have an Aldi too. So we have many options. Restaurants are also fairly affordable compared to larger cities. So typical prices in Oviedo, maybe like casual dining up to $25 per person, but a nice dinner out at like Marlowe's or Tabala is probably $40 to $75 per person. And one thing that the locals love about Oviedo is the food scene. You have the Oviedo on the Park restaurants, you have local breweries, really good sushi spots like Sushi Pop, and a lot of small local restaurants. Next up is transportation costs. This is pretty important to understand because it's a little bit different maybe than other places. So Oviedo is primarily a driving city. It's not really a walkable city at all, but you could probably get most places by bike if you were a cyclist, but most people do commute by car. I would say that the commute to downtown Orlando is like 25 to 30 minutes. UCF is about 10 minutes. Lake Nona, if you're gonna hit the 417, is about 35 minutes. And then the Disney area can be anywhere from like 45 minutes to an hour. And we do have toll roads. So the 417 is a toll road, and I believe it's about 25 to 50 cents per toll. So depending on where you're traveling, you might want to check the toll roads before creating your budget. Now, let me share a few insider things the locals like to know about living in Oviedo. First, many neighborhoods here, they do have HOA fees. Most HOAs run around $60 to $150 per month. The smaller the neighborhood, the higher your HOA fee is going to be because less people are paying into it. But second, Oviedo is extremely family oriented. So So a lot of the demand here comes from people relocating specifically for the Seminole County School District. And third, because Oviedo is so close to UCF, it's actually really a great area to own an investment property. So some families even buy a house for their child attending UCF, rent out the extra bedrooms to friends, and keep the property as an investment property after graduation, which is just genius. With the constant demand from students and faculty, rental demand here stays really strong. So overall, what does it cost to live in Oviedo in 2026? For a typical family of four, I would say housing, between $2,500 to $3,500 per month. Utilities, you can budget, around $450. Groceries up to $1,200. Transportation up to $400. And that puts most families somewhere around $5,500 to $6,000 per month to live comfortably in Oviedo. But in return, let's talk about the good. You're getting great schools, safe neighborhoods, strong property values if you're gonna purchase, and one of the best communities in the Orlando area. If you're thinking about relocating to Oviedo or anywhere in Seminole County or Orlando, feel free to reach out to me. I help a lot of buyers who are moving from out of state, so I can definitely help you know what to expect when moving to Oviedo. And if you found this video helpful, feel free to like and subscribe or reach out to me with any Oviedo questions. Bye.